Hello, and welcome to The Listening Room, a spirituality podcast brought to you by SpiritSourceConnect.com. My name is Suzanne Goulet, and in each episode, I'll be speaking to you about new spirituality and how you can use it to improve your daily life. By offering you insights, tools, and techniques, you'll become more aware of your connection to a higher power and begin to accelerate your path to a life of greater joy, ease, and flow. Enjoy!
One of the ways that we can easily lead ourselves into looking within as well, and a subject that I think might be pertinent to everyone's mind right now, is to look at our little addictions. Do we have things that we like to have or give ourselves whenever we are feeling a little bit off kilter? You know, you might be wondering, why am I bringing up addictions when we're looking at all areas of our life? I think because the little addictions that we have are a very clear indication of some emotional needs that we might have. And the way that we treat ourselves when the desire comes up for our addictions is a very good indication, or a very good time for us to be paying a little bit more of attention of what's going on. So, or perhaps we're not even aware that we are a little bit feeling off kilter, and all we know is that we have this great desire to have or to do this thing that we do that is temporarily satisfying our feelings of wanting something. So I'm choosing to look at a little bit at addictions today because it's that time of the year we might be looking at some New Year's resolutions, and so often resolutions have to do with habits we have that we want to get rid of. When getting rid of them could be one of the hardest things we will have to approach. Do we know that we often have to try to use willpower to overcome these addictions or change some habits that we want to change? And yet, do you know that 95% of all dieting plans fail? 95% of dieting plans fail. The same is true for many smoking cessation programs or alcohol quitting programs and many addiction programs, unless they're treating the within. And instead of just treating the without, you can't make yourself go to the gym for an hour a day when you just don't feel like it, and you're busy with so many other kind of activities that are going on in your life. You're just not finding the way to carve it out, when a real solution might be available to you from the inside out when we look at how are we treating ourselves. For now, we are looking at where we are at the end of the year this year with various areas of our lives and some changes that we might want to be making, including some addictions that we might have. And I'm going to jump now to some passages that I've read recently in A Course in Miracles, which is one of my primary sources of guidance and growth and learning. I've learned so much from the Course, and I've been studying it for about 10 years. The chapter I'm in right now is chapter 17, Awakening and the Holy Relationship. If you're not familiar with the Course, you can go back to one of my previous broadcasts from a few weeks ago where I give a pretty thorough background and introduction to what the Course is. The Course in Miracles is a very important text for our current changing spiritual landscape. In my opinion, it's a foundational work for anyone who really wants to make real progress in all areas of their lives. If your solution for what you wanted to change in your life was working, it would have worked already. And what the Course suggests really is that you surrender and allow what's referred to as Holy Spirit to come in and to provide the solutions for you. But that's only available when you are making a commitment to go within and find the place of peace that lives within you. So in regards to what I'm talking about today with making some changes on some habits that you want to change, the Course is extremely supportive and effective in its teaching that all peace lies within. It is encouraging of us who are walking along on our spiritual path by paying attention to our personal growth within. All solutions reside within. It doesn't matter what the situation is. It doesn't matter what behavioral change we'd like to see in ourselves. It doesn't matter what the current health challenge that we have is that's plaguing us or our relationships. We are all on a spiritual path, and the thing that is standing in front of us most loudly and clearly, the squeaky wheel, is the one that we really need to be paying attention to the most, is the one that is calling out for a solution the most. And it is not that we need to come up with the solution. We need to allow Holy Spirit to come in and provide the solution for us. We are all individuals on a spiritual path right now, putting one step in front of the other. And with each step, we experience more and more growth. But if we're not paying attention at all, if all of our attentions are geared towards fixing things in the outside of us, we're going to make very, very little progress. And it's going to lead to some very frustrating feelings and even despair and some anger and some resentments. When we learn to go within and by continually seeking to find our connection to Source from within, this is where we can discover our own very clear and very direct path. You can save yourself a lot of time and a lot of energy by simply establishing and practicing a very clear path to your connection with Source. It should become like a habit with you. You should have a very familiar feeling in your heart. And some people can call it their gut or their instinct, but I think it's a lot more than that. And I encourage people to kind of establish a dialogue with this inner part of yourself that is connected with Source and is connected with the all that is. In my own experience, I have used the path of journaling to establish this connection and to continue to enrich this connection with Source that's ever present in my life and guides me every step of the way. Sure, I have some challenges. Sure, I have some things that I'd like to change. Sure, I know that I am capable of much more than perhaps what I'm experiencing right now. But I also know that I am making a tremendous amount of progress very, very quickly on a day-to-day basis because I am listening to and guided by Spirit in so many ways. And the way that I have established that is through meditation and through journaling. Not only journaling what my thoughts are, although that's part of it, but being open to receive communication and messages from a place much higher than me. And I believe that this is possible and accessible for every single person on the planet. It is not just for special people that you can receive communication from a place higher than your own mind. There is plenty of love and support and encouragement out there. But we must find a practice and we must demonstrate a little bit of willingness to receive and leave our own intentions, our own fears, our own disbeliefs, our own ego that insists that we're not really ever going to get there or be able to do it. We have to leave all of that behind. Okay, so when we're dealing with something like an addiction, something that we'd like to rid ourselves of, the Course teaches that we will continue to experience frustration if we choose to approach the situation by attacking it from the outside, which is where we perceive it to be. And if you don't have a particular addiction you want to address, you just want to look at some aspect of your life that you would like to see changed in the coming year, no matter how big it is, this can be addressed. What we experience on the outside, the Course teaches us, is in fact an illusion, built to reflect back to us what is our current system of beliefs on the inside. So it's really a mirror reflection of what we are already holding within. So if we are looking to our addictions, we want to see them simply as that, a visual effect that has no meaning or substance, but is simply smoke and mirrors showing us that we have something going on in our interior that we may want to take a look at. So one of the first steps the Course asks us to take is to set a goal from the beginning of this process. So earlier in the broadcast, we looked at several different areas of our lives right now, where we are we with certain aspects of our lives, and I'd like you right now to just choose one of them. Let's just focus on one thing right now. It can either be an aspect of your health, it could be an addiction that you have you'd like to release, it could be where you are with your relationships. No matter what it is, you personally choose right now. And one of the things that the Course does tell us that is important for us to do is to set out a goal from the beginning of this process. Meaning, and these aren't the kind of goals that, we've been taught in the material world, say with finances or with working out. It's the type of goal that I'm talking about. This is what you want to be thinking about is what is the resolution. So, for instance, if you have a smoking habit, the goal or the resolution for you would be to be a non-smoker. And so once we have communicated and clearly identified what the goal is, what the resolution is, we are simply going to put that out to a higher power, what the Course refers to as the Holy Spirit. We are communicating our goal to the Holy Spirit, and in this way we're demonstrating we are clear in our desire for the outcome. It's not necessary for us to come up with a solution or to dream up the steps which we have to take for this to unfold. It has nothing to do with that. The solution to the problem already exists. And what we are doing is we are communicating the goal to Holy Spirit, and then it is our willingness to receive it and our faith that we will receive it that needs to be established. And some of this might be a little trickier for some than others, but if you're accustomed, if you're in the habit of having faith through trials and tribulations, you'll know how to call upon it. If faith is not anything that you have any familiarity with, well, this is a very good time to begin. And often we are tested in our faith. So if there is something that you would like to see resolved in your life right now, I would suggest that you start very small if you don't have the practice of having faith, because your faith is going to start small and grow bigger and bigger. And faith is the thing that the Holy Spirit asks us to give. It's a little bit of surrender. Every situation that exists in our lives already has its solution, but we have vested so much interest in our own possibilities for a solution. We have left out Holy Spirit's already perfectly completed result for a solution. So we continually try to hammer away at this problem, to fix it. And what we're being asked to do here is very simple. It's to stop hacking away at it on the outside. Just simply stop, turn, and go within. Express to the Holy Spirit the resolution of the goal that you would like to receive in this situation, and then simply begin to allow. Stop thinking about how you are going to solve the problem and allow yourself to receive. We're so often seeking to find peace by thinking that if the solution on the outside were resolved, then we would have peace once we've resolved it. It's exactly the opposite of the way it really is in truth. You're not going to find peace once the situation is resolved. You're going to resolve the situation by finding the peace first. And when we come to a place of peace, that truth can truly enter our minds, and the situation can resolve itself quite naturally without trying. When we come to peace within ourselves, suddenly these perceived needs that we have coming in from the outside, whatever our addiction is or whatever our situation is in our life right now that we'd like to see changed, whether it's food or drink or smoke, or if it's health in any way, whatever these little addictions that we have, they come in and we do them because it makes us feel better. It gives us a temporary relief from this stress that we might have or these feelings of difficulty that we might have. And then again and again, we'll participate in this, and then we'll let it go. And then we'll say, oh, we're done with this. We're never going to do it again. And then what do you know? A little while later, this comes back. And so we keep trying to hack away at it or using our willpower to quit. And this isn't ever going to work. But coming to a place of peace within your heart and establishing your connection with Spirit will provide the solution for you. And it doesn't require a great deal of work on our part. What we are doing is, once again, placing a goal of outcome that we wish to see, and then allowing Spirit to resolve the situation in the environment and foundation of our own peace. It is only through our own state of peace that we might behold the richness of truth and receive. We cannot receive truth when we are continually trying to fight our battles from the outside. We must approach all challenges by going within and seeing with honesty that we are on a path. And this next step is the next absolute relinquishment of our ego's idea of ourselves and what we must let go. We see the situation on the exterior, we wish to see it changed, and we must go within, find our place of peace, and allow Holy Spirit to deliver it to us, the already available solution.
This is Suzanne, and I want to thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this program and would like to receive a free gift, please visit spiritsourceconnect.com. Thank you.